Hello folks, today we're taking a look at Harrow County. It has just arrived. Fun fact, I thought this was Pest. I've actually shot another version of this video where up until I actually opened this box, it was Pest. But it turns out no, it is not Pest. In fact, it is the Satchel edition, the best you can get copy of Harrow County. And there was a little bit of box damage, but it does not look like it's impacted the packaging at all. In fact, let's take a look. I believe that is that. We've got a little bit of some plastic wrap. There was not a lot of bubble wrap, but it was it's probably nicely packed inside of here. We got some plastic wrap to keep it safe from moisture and whatnot. This is the Satchel edition, so it comes with sort of a satchel. It's got this, so when if you see it out on retail, you'll see this on the back that sort of explains what the game is and stuff. So Harrow County is a comic book. This game was adapted from that comic book, and in that comic book, one of the main characters carried around a satchel with some skin, some animated skin inside of it. So this game is called it's a game of Gothic horror, not Gothic, not goth, right? So not those girls that are real mad at their dads with the black lipstick and white faces and stuff. No, it's Gothic as in like American Gothic, like the man and the woman and the farmers. Basically, they're farmers. It's basically farmer goth. It's farmer horror, I guess, up in this place. There were witches that were burnt. There's a whole story, and I've never even heard of the comic book. So if you buy the Satchel edition, they give you a digital download where you can get this and read the several editions of this, basically the whole story of this. And it was really, really good. I actually read that all through December, and was really entertained by it. I thought it was really good. The artwork's got a lot of watercolor and stuff. And I particularly thought the artwork was really compelling, and I loved the story. I thought it was very different and pretty original. And I'm interested to see how well it adapted to a board game. The board game attracted me separately because of its mechanics and the kind of the way it works. And I've been pleasantly surprised with this as the production has gone on. And I've been just very, very excited to receive this. So this is the big deluxe version in the satchel. This is, you can't tell probably on the video, but it's sort of a plasticky, like a vinyl. I don't know if this is vinyl. I forgot what material he said this was, but this is sort of a nice plastic material. It's not paper or anything. He's got Velcro here for the latches, and inside is the game. So let's pull that out. Let's see if we get a little scoop. Alright, that helps it out. This game has a couple of really interesting gimmicks and mechanisms, one of which is that there's this tree that's kind of integral in the story, and this hole, there's a hole in the box. It's a little hard to tell in the plastic, but there's a hole in the box right here, which is basically where our main character was born. She was pulled from that hole. In this game, you'll be able to drop cubes in the top of this, and they're going to get caught in the mechanisms and stuff inside of here, and then some of them will pop out the bottom, and that's how you determine combat. And it works very much the same way as Frostpunk and the Frostpunk Tower. If you've ever encountered that, you drop some pegs in there, you drop the cubes in there, and they get caught in the little cross beams and stuff. So they got something similar going on down here. In fact, when you look down into it, you can actually see what's going on in there. The satchel's sort of an interesting and safe way to store this box with a hole, which I think was a concern maybe for some people. But it's also a fun way to carry it around, very thematic to the actual story and stuff. It's got a nice riveted little thing here. I think this would probably survive. It wouldn't put up with a whole lot of excitement, let's say, but it's definitely kind of neat. So I'm glad it's there. All right, and here we have it. Let's pull it out of the box and see what's inside here. Alright, so here we have the rule book. The way he did the rule book's really interesting. It actually starts you off in levels, so you'll play through like the first level and learn a little bit of the rules, and then it's got a scenario for that too. So it's got the scenario and the setup. So you do that, you learn some of the rules, and you play number 2, and you do a little bit more of the rules, and maybe explore some other characters, and then eventually, I think in the 3rd round, you've pretty much got the 2-player version of it. Then it starts to expand even further, and you can fight with other characters they have provided, like Hester. Hester's the big bad, the big overall bad in the story, so it makes sense that she would kind of come at the end of that learning process. But that adds a 3rd player, so it makes it a little bit more versatile if you've got that 3rd wheel coming over to hang out. Or if you have that weird odd-sized group, 3-player, you know, something to get 2 to 3 players is kind of handy. And it comes with an expansion because it's the super deluxe version. And it comes with something called the Fair Folk. We'll see that in a second too. And I believe you can use that. They're either an alternate 3rd player or even 4 players. I think it's probably alternate 3rd player, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'm going to do a video about this. I've been studying the rules for this actually for a while and watching videos and going back and thanking all the people that came in and made those prototype videos like Cardboard and Coffee and a few others. Yeah, the artwork on this is just really outstanding, really beautiful. I really enjoyed the story. But let's get on with it. Like here we have a newspaper, and this is all just lore. This is all just fun stuff to read. So I'm not going to go through that. We've got a draw bag for the family. The family is one of the factions that you can play in, and they have a mechanism where they're kind of pulling things out of these bags. And it's not super big. Like I got real big hands. I got a big meaty hands and stuff, but it's definitely big enough to kind of get a couple of fingers in there and pull something out. I think that'll be good. Feels nice. I like the work on the bag. We'll zoom in a little bit. Yep, the bag's real nice. And what do we got here? These are some player aids. Now, as I understand it from some of the comments that I read, I think they intended for this to be small, like the little small card size, so it would actually fit inside the little player containers that they very carefully constructed to fit all this stuff. I've already seen the creator of this game unbox this, and thank you. He did a great job. It was much anticipated. But yeah, so these are probably too big to put in the player aids. I got an idea for that, though. I'm going to look at that in a second. To put with the player components, but they're player aids. Anyway, this is one of the little scoreboards. This is one of the mechanisms. You're going to have some spoons going around here and some and these little blinds to kind of cover some of these numbers, and that's how you keep score during the game. This is actually a funnel. So they have, and it's going to bend and turn into a little funnel that goes into the top of the box. Like if you remember, I said you're going to be dropping cubes into the box and stuff. This is made to kind of go in the top of that tree and kind of help guide those cubes into the little hole here. And here we have the player board, and boy, that doesn't take up much space at all. That's nice. Very nice. So all the prototypes I saw, they had like a full board and stuff, but they chose to cut that out. That was a decision they made along the way after the campaign. It's a beautiful, very colorful little board. Very Catan. It's got a Catan vibe to it. And let's see. Yeah, it looks like looks like it might be slightly different from one side to the other. Different hexes and stuff. Very neat. Very neat, colorful little board. And I love how compact it is when you're done. Yeah, usually that board is like really taking up a lot of space in your box and stuff. So I'll set that over here. Let's see, right here we have, these are little snap connectors that I'll attach these to the scoreboard. And they are very much like the unmatched, like the attachments for unmatched spinning wheels and other things like that. We've got some candy. Yeah, and this is one of the where there's some action selection element of this game where you guys are going to pick these 4 different actions, and then as you do that, it could unlock other things. So this is like a little sideboard of the game, and this is the solo. This is for the solo mode. So that's cool. I might explore this as a solo game. I've got the means to photograph these things, and I think that would be a pretty fun one to do. So I might, maybe. We'll see how hard this is to pick up. All right, so right here we have something that is really nice, very refreshing in a board game. Something I really, really appreciate a lot, and that is, so if you're playing as this faction, the family, this is all your stuff. Very tightly packed into a nice little container. Your board here, this is a dual layer board. This just simply slides off the top. It's not the lid or anything, it's just attached there. There's a place for it. There's a place to keep it. And inside of here, you'll find all the stuff you'll need for the blue faction, and it sort of is mirrored in other factions as well, but let's take a look. Right here, oh, and that's nice. See how you can just kind of reach through and grab those? Very good. So right here we have all the different possible characters you can play as the family. And these are all characters from the story. All the different members of this family. And there are quite a few. They all had they're sort of this family of immortals. They all have these kind of different, unique, weird powers and stuff. So you got a lot of options when you play this. It's a lot of replayability in that alone. And they're asymmetrical too, so they each have their own little deal. So on the back of these, it's all lore. They just did that to keep these to do something interesting with that. So it's not just a pretty picture, and it's pretty cool. You got a little blurb on each one of them to kind of help you get in the right mindset for playing these particular people who are, I think, there's a lot of gray areas in the family, but I think generally speaking, the protectors, Emmy, the main character, and the protectors are the ones that I felt like were the good guys in the whole thing. Anyway, right here we have these are all those different cards. These are the player pieces for them. They've got nice heat pressed art onto that. See, they're all the same shape. You're going to just pick one of these, and that is your character. And they all store nicely here. Very, very cool representation of the art there. And right here we have some cards. I believe these are upgraded actions that you can do with these. I'll have to review that. Again, with the wonderful art. Very clear iconography. All right. And right here we have... So these little houses are objectives that the family tries to get to. They make these storms. So they're these like little wind storms or tornadoes. And they rip through... And they're trying to destroy all these houses. They're trying to destroy the town. So that's what these are, little heat-pressed meeples. And over here we've got some cubes. These are just standard game cubes, but they are the thing that you're going to be dropping down into this box. That's going to kerplunk their way all the way through here and then out the hole. Right here we have something called Haints. And we've got a little stray activity marker here. Got a couple of them. Just wandered over here on their way over from China. So these Haints are little undead creatures that these people use as their minions. And there's a part of the story where Hester will infect different people of the town and all these haints and minions and stuff with snakes. She like whispers snakes into their ears. So all of these have holes in them where snakes can go into the ears for part of it. And that's pretty neat. Right here we have mason jars, and these represent the actions that you can take on your turn. So it's going to be like put more cubes in to get stronger, deploy people to the field, and then there's one of them that's wild, so you could do something twice. So yeah, so in this story, there's all these things. There's some prohibition stuff, and apparently they stored magic in some of these bottles. Now, at the best of my memory, the only thing I saw like that was they would store snakes in there. The snakes that were whispered into people's ears, I remember they kept those in jars as sort of like a weird magic shield or something. But in the game, taking your action is represented by smashing one of these jars to unleash your power. Here at the bottom is another part of the rules I don't remember. Stay tuned for the rules video when I finally put it all together. But I do know that this fits underneath the hero. That's why there's this little indentation right here. So whichever person you pick, you'll have possibly 2 different ways to play them. So I think one of these actions makes this happen, and you can change it from one way to the other. But I don't remember what the determination for when you would do that is. So, but that's there for this group. These little metal things here. So these are little action selection cubes. So I think so these markers here, I think they actually go, these are like upgrade markers. They're probably tied in with these things. And they take the little, you're going to be able to pick these tokens up off the board. And they're going to take those tokens and put them in their bag. And I think that's what they're pulling from their bag, if I remember correctly. To be honest, I think I've studied the Protectorate a little bit more, the Protectors a little bit more than the family. So, but there's a grab bag aspect to that, and I think that these are replacement tokens for those things that you can pull out of the bag, or perhaps the upgraded ones. So as you pick these things up off the map, you'll have an option to either put them in here or put them in the bag, if I remember correctly. So all the different factions have a board like this that kind of does something different. And so they've got a way to interact with this particular shaped little token that you'll see on the board setup. And this version of the game has metal replacements for this faction's specialized tokens for this. Right? Okay. Alright, so that is the family. Obviously no way to work this bag into there. There's just no more space. It almost looks like there would be a little space. I think if there's really not a lot of extra space here for sleeved cards, like if you had to sleeve these or wanted to sleeve these. But let me take a look here. My guess is they probably did consider that, because it doesn't go perfectly to the top. It's got a little bit of space. And oh, with that on there, yeah. I would say you could. Oh shoot. I would say that there's a really good chance that you could sleeve those cards, and this would probably still fit in there. It might be a little tight, but there's definitely a little bit of space left over where you could sleeve that. Alright, so I lost a few of my tokens down in here, so that's... But I can't tilt this up till I'm done, so I might as well go through this. So right here we have Hester. Now this is like a half board, because this is the other expansion, the Fairfolk expansion. So I'm going to pull that out and just kind of set it aside for a minute. And Hester's a half one, because I guess she doesn't have, she doesn't need the same components. She doesn't have the same components. And her board's much simpler too. It's only got one side here. Her components consist of, let's see, you have some flame tokens, some various cubes. It looks like a lot of different colors of cubes. Maybe she's just sowing chaos. Oh, and her little person has moved away. She's got one of the little star people here. And she's got these roots. There's looks like different colors of them even. And so we got little roots and stuff that she's going to send out throughout the ground. All right, put her aside. Let's take a look at the protectors. This is the main characters, the ones we're made to care about. Again, a 2-layer board here, and these fit perfectly, supposedly, the tokens and stuff from the punch board. Although I haven't seen them yet. Perhaps it's further down in here. And this is a deluxe version, so we might have wooden tokens instead of the punch board. But yeah. So the protectors is very much the same layout, where we've got the different heroes. This is the main character, the one on the front of the box, Emmy. And Bernice, her bestie. Malachi, the big monster that lives in the woods, and the skinless boy, who is not as scary as maybe you would think. They are the protectors, the de facto good guys in the story. They also have the heat-pressed imagery. Let's get one you can see. Heat-pressed imagery on their little star tokens, so that's pretty cool. They've got little farmers instead of buildings for their objectives that they're trying to race to. These little farmer people. They've also got a set of cards in a very much the same scenario as far as the lid lift and stuff. This, I don't know. These feel like they go a little bit further to the top. Maybe it's because they still have the plastic on. They have their own version of the Haints that looks slightly different from the other ones. And also their own color of mason jars. Now these are almost exactly the same, except for the player color there is red, of course. And these are little tokens that go with the special effects from this, their version at the bottom of the board, which will create paths, safe paths for their little townsfolk to move across. And that is a very quick look at the protectors. More to come on that. All right. So this character apparently plays as another faction, and I think you meet her partway through the game. And this is the main character's sister, sort of. If you play this game without reading the comic book, there could be spoilers anyway. But basically, this is Hester was sort of two people, and when they killed the witch on the tree, her soul sort of split in two. And divided those two people into the tree. So, and both of those were born as small babies from that hole in the tree. The townsfolk found them in there and pulled them out, and they're like, oh no, it's probably the witch. Well, we can't just do away with little babies. So they took them off each to raise them up and kind of see, kind of watch and see. And this one was bad. You can tell because she's covered in blood. So she was definitely the bad one of the sisters, and the part of that witch that was good, something deep inside her that was good, came out as Emmy. But they look quite a bit alike. She seemed a bit older for some reason. Maybe it's just because she was more mature. She was like from some urban place and showed up with her chauffeur and stuff, but she ends up being bad. She's got her own. I guess her soul is sort of trapped inside some doll. So the whole part of their quest is to find this doll where her soul is I don't know, sort of trapped inside of it, like in Harry Potter or something. I'm trying to remember the story offhand. All right, so she's got kind of a different little board here. I'm not sure what that's all about, but here's the characters, and it looks like they're mostly these little monster fellows. What are these? I can't remember if these are these fair folk or something else. These are some little haint creatures that, yeah, and they all have their own names and little stories behind them and stuff. But here, these are some little haint creatures that are part of her minions, and you can play as one of these. She's got her own set of cards, her own cubes, and these heat pressed things are kind of interesting for her. So, are they the different characters? I think they are the different characters. But this has like a Stratego element where they're all blank on the back. So you don't necessarily know which of these is Cammy manifests inside of one of these creatures and which one is the creature themselves. So I think in this case, they might all be out there. But I haven't watched any of the playthroughs or done any of the rules. All I know is kind of what I saw the creator talking about. But this has kind of a Stratego element where you won't know necessarily where she is. And that probably means more of these will come out. So that's interesting. See, but I have to learn how to play it because my daughter's favorite color is purple, so I know she'll want to play this one. And it's kind of gross. She's got her own version of the haints. They do not have holes. Oh, nope, that's got a hole in its ear too. So it can get snaked also, apparently. And her own tokens. And I believe these tokens, there's something about a doll with her. I don't know if that was like behind one of these things. Let's see. All right, yeah, so she's got these little tokens, and when you flip them over, it's either going to be a skull or it's going to be the doll. And I believe finding that doll is probably their objective. That's what I remember from the story anyway. So there's her specific tokens, nice wooden tokens, and then her little board with extra powers for their clan right here. All right. Again, with the beautiful artwork, and you can see there on the back, there she is, taking a tour of Harrow County with her butler. Makes for a really nice topper for her player pieces. All right. I guess it would make sense to just go ahead and do this part now, because this is basically another faction, another way to play the game. I don't know very much about it. I like to just kind of let myself be surprised with the expansions sometimes. Sometimes they're super exciting, and sometimes it's like, eh. For this game, I believe it's another faction with another set of rules. They're really into silver, and they've got a lot of silver accents in there. We got a little rule book to explain how this faction works. Thank you. We've got their tokens, also some wood tokens. Looks like their version of the jar, these silvery jars. Again, wooden tokens. They got some this way, that way markers. Don't know what that's about, but they're silver painted wooden tokens. They got their cubes. These are sort of like stands, I believe. Oh yeah, so these go with these, and they're kind of like tombstones, I guess, that you can assemble for them. Some more little green tokens. Wow, they've got the dry erase marker. Ooh, really nice silver cards. Oh, that's very shiny. You could like signal your way. You could be like lost on an island and be like, I was saved by this stack of cards because it was so shiny I could signal an airplane. Anyway, so there's the set of cards. There's another set of cards here. It's tempting to go through these. I'd like to go through these individually, but it'd just take too long. So just wait for the gameplay or pick it up yourself if you're really curious. I'm not sure what this adhesive is for. Ooh. Some more shiny little things. These appear to be punch outs. 1, 2, and 3. Got a little standee here. Standee stand. Oh, okay. I do remember something about this. So, I think this is like where things are on the board for these guys is different than everybody else. So you mark with this dry erase marker, you're going to mark on here. And then this kind of sits like, I don't know if it's a secret from you or a secret from everyone else. Like, is it for you? I think it's a secret from you. So the other people keep it, if I remember correctly. Because I did listen to like a little, I think I listened to the creator talking about this, but I'm not sure I paid the best attention. So we got one more punch board that's really neat and a very, very flamboyant draw bag. That is ready for a night on the town. Ooh, so elegant. I feel so elegant in here. Ooh, look at that. Okay. So the part of me that loves to be super organized wants to punch all this stuff out and stuff and figure it out, but we'll do that at a later time. Just to save time, let's move along. It's actually kind of a lot of components for this little box. Like I haven't done the punch boards or anything, and that's probably messing it up. Plus, it was so perfectly packed in there, as opposed to me just throwing it back in. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there, especially with all those little wooden tokens. All right, so over here we have another piece. These are some game pieces. These are the storms. I think I mentioned earlier. And these are like laser cut wood. They have some printing on it. It's kind of a lined printing, but it does a really good job of like making this look like a storm. It's really, really cool looking. So these are going to go down on the board, and if you are the family, you're going to be directing those storms towards the houses to try to take out the county. These are wild, so this is the wild token. I believe this represents being able to take a wild action, or maybe you could spend, maybe taking wild action gives you these and you could spend them on something else. I can't remember exactly. That's sort of a token that's used by both factions. Ooh, so many of these nice little boxes and stuff. Let's see. So right here we have the first player token. These are the bonus tiles. So these tiles will sit between the two mason jars. All those mason jars with actions will go down here. These will sit between them, and whoever takes the action first can also take this action. So that's supplemental actions. More actions! This is something I've seen already that will punch out and go in here, but I don't recall what that is, or maybe some cards. I'm not sure what goes in here. I'll have to look have to look and see. And yeah, this is the first player token, a little lantern. It's a nice little lantern. That's a good little lantern in there. Thank you. I don't know what this is. Oh, okay, so right here, at the bottom here is basically a dice tray. So I'm going to pull this out, see if this comes off. In this version of the game, this acts as a lid. Oh, yes. Okay. So this is sort of the dice tray. All these little things are just to remind you, or to help you count up that you've got your 6. You can only have 6 cubes inside of this. And it sits right next to the box, and that hole will go right there. So when you drop the cubes down into the hole, they will roll into there. So every video I've seen, the cubes just shoot out way past the hole and stuff. Or the tray. So I'm kind of curious to see how that works. But it's got some stuff in here to remind you how it works. Basically, if you've got 2 cubes, and if you've got 2 cubes, you can eliminate one of their cubes. It's something simple like that. In this version of the game, this also works. I think in the other version, it's just kind of in the box. This one, it's a lid, and it fits nice and tight on top of this. And it's a nice, good heavy material, and that's great because inside of here are metal versions of those tokens. So that's why I haven't seen a punch board yet, I guess, because it only has the metal versions in here. They didn't put any of the cardboard ones in, and that's fine. But these are really, really cool looking. Oh man, it's sort of like metal coins, but these will go out on the map. So based on different scenarios, so based on different scenarios, you'll be putting these things out onto the map. This is completely wrong, most likely, but I'm just going to do that for an example. So as you take these off the board, what you're going to do is you're going to take them and slot them in here, and it slightly improves that action. So when you go to do this, now you also get this bonus, and it continues on as it goes down through there for all the different versions of this that there are. And there's a couple of different things. Like here's a little claw. But that gives you some incentive to move around the board and go and collect these different things, and I guess that'll change your abilities and how effective you are on the battlefield. And it's nice to have little metal replacements that feel really nice. And these seems like there's a lot of money games, or games that have money and metal coins and stuff like that, but they don't you don't interact with it quite as much as you do the chits. So it's an interesting thing to see the chits done in the way that the metal coins, and a lot of different versions too. I mean, there's a lot of different colors in here, so really a wide variety of things. It does seem like these are a little bit tight on here. Like if I really press it in, it's kind of difficult. Oh no, it's not too bad. It just kind of takes some practice. You have to be careful though. Like at first, I kind of squished it in there and it felt like it was kind of tight to come out. But now it's better, so maybe they just need to be worn in a little bit. You know, maybe your first game. Notice you might have to pry them out. All right, and here on the bottom of the box, okay, it's not taped down there or anything, but here on the bottom of the box is a little breakdown for how they suggest putting all of this stuff back. So if you've got it all pulled out like I do, you can find your way home by putting all the stuff back. So thank you for including that. That's a very good and often underlooked nice thing to put in there. It looks like for the little dice tower-esque thing that we've got going here, there's a piece of foam right here. And does this come out? This kind of comes out like yeah. All right. So it's like a little box. I'll get my coins out of there, or my little tokens. Ta-da! So that's really interesting. Maybe we can take a look inside here and kind of see what's going on. Ooh, it looks like the glue's come loose. Like this isn't really actually supposed to come out like I just did it. but I didn't resist at all. Oh, I bet it was just glued to this. Yeah, I can see a little bit of residue right here, I think. So I bet, no, that's definitely cardboard right there. Oh yeah, I can see that was glued down right here. So this is the way it goes. It doesn't appear to be damaged or anything. It just kind of came right out. This part of it feels like it's really well constructed. Like it's really sturdy, real thick cardboard. And it's interesting to see just the way this mechanism works. So if you look down in there, there's all kinds of like little ledges, little perils for your little cubes to make as they fall down in there, and then eventually they got shot out of the chute here. So let's put the foam back. We'll put this back where it goes, right here. And it's all good. And of course you'll be putting it back onto your table. So I've got it just with nothing in there. I probably ought to go in there with the hot glue gun and like glue it back down, but that was interesting to have a real easy look down inside there. That fits pretty good. That says all right. Oh no! I'll definitely need to glue that in. There are probably a few perils in going with a box like this, where it's kind of a component of the game itself, where the box sort of becomes a component of the game. It's different and unique. For that, they'll call it a gimmick. And perhaps it is. It is different than a dice tower in the side of a box, in that it kind of collects and disrupts the cubes as they go through. So there isn't really a ready, steady replacement for this if it breaks or somehow something happens to this. I guess you could roll dice or do something else instead. I don't know if that would be the same. It seems like this could be okay. I mean, obviously, if somebody damages any kind of game in any way, you know, it could affect its replayability and stuff. And I'm not worried. I'm definitely, especially with my Satchel edition. But even if you got the basic edition of this, I don't think you're in too much damage of it, like becoming permanently damaged. Even what's happened to mine from the shipping over here is just a few seconds with a hot glue gun away from being remedied. And nothing seemed damaged at all. It just kind of came loose, like the glue detached itself a little bit. Overall, I really am very pleased with the production quality of this stuff. I find it all to be very charming and nice, and I really appreciate the work that they did to make this very thematic and stick with the story of Harrow County. So I'm going to spend the rest of the night kind of exploring this game and punching these boards out, putting everything together, and putting it all back in the box, and exploring how this game really works. And I'll be back to tell you more about it very soon. Until next time, enjoy your games. See you later. Bye-bye.